Welcome, everybody. I am back. Had a long absence, had COVID a while back. Last week took the medication for horses that actually knocked it out. It was meant for human consumption, though. And now that we have people who are now recognizing that it actually works, Dr. Campbell also mentions how well that stuff works, and I testify to that. This enabled me to go to the go up to be able to speak at a small little church in Hot Springs and visit a church, and I can't remember the Living Spirit or Living Water Church Living Outreach Church in Custer. I was invited just to go there and see and participate in the service. And as I was leaving the service, this sign came up. You are now entering the mission field. So I took a picture of that. And so I just edited it a little bit. But yeah, we all are entering a mission field as soon as we step out the door, now more than ever. So I just since I'm back, got a little rest, ended up falling asleep a few minutes ago. I don't know, I must have been tired and anything. So a lot of things have happened. And so we're just going to go ahead and talk tonight about things because we don't really have anything really to talk too much about other than when we step out into the mission field and not just kind of wing it. We'll ask questions. You can ask questions, whatever. I'll go to the live chat to see if there's Sean's there, Jason's there, Joe. Okay, a few people are coming on. Yeah, my apologies for a long delay. I am working on the video that I'll be putting out soon. Put my, where is it? Where's the title of it? Oh boy, is this it? The Devil's Toolbox. I'll be talking about that coming up, hopefully, maybe even Friday night. I got to prepare for it. I got slides to make for it and stuff. And I got to put it together. I've just been kind of busy getting back, everything like that. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. So anyway, yeah, when we step outside, we are entering a mission field, and not many people think too much of that. And I just want to read something to you out of the book of Daniel. And it's a familiar passage of scripture here. It says this, and it talks about in chapter 12, verse 1, the last part. It says, "And there will be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that time, and at that time your people shall be delivered, every one who is found written in the book." Is your name written in the book of life? And it goes here, "Then many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, some to shame and everlasting contempt." Verse 3, "Those who are wise will shine like brightness of the firmament, and those who turn many to righteousness like the stars forever and ever." So right in those three verses, you have a mission field that you're walking into. And that is what I want to kind of share on today. And in the book of Daniel, it says, "But you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end, that many will run to and fro, and knowledge will increase." Well, we all know that knowledge is increasing. We have AI. We have the system set up for the Antichrist, ready to hit us right now. And I've been gone. I'm trying to keep tabs on things. But when I had COVID, I didn't even know I had my trash can out for almost an entire week sitting outside by the curb. Never brought it in. I forgot all about it. But but more I think about it, driving and stuff, and catching up on stuff, and listening to the Watchmen and participating in that last Thursday. A lot going on. It's even more stepped up and more intense than I've ever seen before. The AI situation is getting quite frightening because now the AIs, you can take photographs of somebody, and they have now perfected the photographs from a photograph, the AI can imitate movement and so forth, etc. And if they have a recording or a tape recording, you can play it. It'll actually take the voice and give an image of somebody who died talking to you. And so that made the news. It came out before many years ago, and I reported on it. But now with the AI the way it is now, it's more um, pronounce. In other words, it's like AI necromancy. Is that really, talking like maybe you lost your pet goldfish, and Bubbles, the goldfish, will be talking to you, telling you about heaven, what it's like to float around in aquatic heaven or something. I know, yeah. I'm just saying, there's a couple of people I heard on the news that they talking to their dead grandmother. Yeah, and well, really not. You're talking to probably some demon in a machine called the AI imitating that. And also, the AI is also notorious. If it is demonically inspired and is something embedded in the AI, like a spiritual entity, if just outside, this is not outside the realm of possibility, you know. So if that happens, is very deceptive. And one of the things that are very deceptive is the AI. And so AI is talking about AI Atlas and all this stuff. And, you got to take everything with a grain of salt or whatever. So the latest finding out there about the 3i AI Atlas, for example, is that they did some radio signals to it. And it is a interstellar object. It's not a spaceship. So some people say it is, whatever. I don't know. I'm just saying, you hear so much, but the AI can duplicate things and tell you things that 3i Atlas. Well, basically, what AI does will take all the chatter about 3i Atlas and all the most heard things. I mean, most things are getting people's attention. That it's a spaceship, aliens, the rapture, the hierarchy coming back, and will mirror that when you ask it questions. That's one thing that some people are finding out. So if AI Atlas is actually something serious, we'll find out about it soon enough in December. In the meantime, live your life. And because men will run to and fro, because knowledge will increase like AI. And when watching some of the AI things, and I got a good laugh because I was in Hot Springs at we call it the Jimson Center, or we call it the filling station up there. It's actually an old filling station up there at Hot Springs. We made a little community type church there, an outreach center. And so when I was there, the host made a video, AI video of me. They didn't take my voice, but they did that. And I think the guy, the image looked better than I do, so I wish I had my chin jutted out like that. That's why I have a beard. My wife told me, just keep your beard on. Your chin is just, yeah. So my chin doesn't exactly jut out. Like, I can't do that, but so yeah, but I thought that was funny. But if you had my voice, it would have sounded like me. That's scary because AI can actually take photographs, and you can do 4, 5, maybe 10-second, maybe a 20-second reel of certain events and of old photographs, and make a collage of movement and things that will imagine that you're doing. And so now AI, when you feed in the data, it'll, grandmother like red flowers and all this, and you type in and then all of a sudden there's grandma talking to you. She's been dead for 35 years and telling you all about heaven and how and it's okay to push up daisies when you die because everybody makes heaven, everything's a new age movement, things like that. And people are going to believe this stuff. The deception will be astronomical, all because knowledge will increase and it will cause people to run to and fro. running to and fro, when that scripture says in Daniel chapter um, 12 verse 3, running to and fro has a lot of different meanings. And one of them, of the meanings is, knowledge will increase and people run to and fro from this truth to that truth and not never arriving at any truth. And they'll be easily deceived. Other times it talks about a time when knowledge increases so much so that you can't keep up and you're frantic and you just want to keep, you can't handle it. It's overload. And so you get an overload of knowledge. So there's a couple of meanings in there about that. We're seeing this transpire right now, big time, and especially with the AI. And and could you imagine that, take a picture that someone took a picture and took my wife's voice on it and sent me that, I would actually probably freak out. I'd delete that thing. Don't do that to me. I mean, it's not something you want to mess with, and a lot of people will do all kinds of things. Also, the other thing about AI that it got a lot of headway a while back, but now you don't hear too much of it. But the tech giants were designing a AI system to replace God. They want to make an AI God, somebody who can serve their need. It'll be like it'll be like Siri or Google, whatever the Google bot talk is, or whatever. And it'll be in any voice you want, and you say, oh, you pray to it, and it will go out, find the resources, and it'll make it happen in your life. It'll deliver a box of goodies to your door or something, and it'll figure out a way to get somebody to send you whatever your heart's desire is. It can make things happen, and it gets scary. Really gets scary when you realize the dangers of AI. But there's also benefits of AI. I very seldom use it. I tried the Chat GP and I thought it was a joke. Sorry. It's more advanced now than when I tried it. But I wanted an outline from about Alice Bailey. I wanted an outline of Alice Bailey's quotes about certain topics, and it wouldn't give it to me. It just gave me a history. Alice Bailey did this, and then it just repeated itself. It's like those these AI generated videos. They sit there, and all of a sudden they're showing all this stuff on the screen, and this robot voice going on in the background, either English guy or a gal or some deep throated Englishman or somebody with a deep bass voice talking, no emotion in the voice, and it repeats itself. And it's that's why I say I can't see why anybody would use it for research. Maybe I'm a little bit more dumber about it than most people, but I don't know. I mean, but anyway, I heard that the later editions of AI are beginning to be improved, especially the stuff that you have to pay for. AI can also be used for good things like film editing and stuff, and making videos and adding special effects. I do not know how any of that works. I still do things the hard way because that's the only way I know how to do anything. Um, I, it reminds me of Star Trek, their voyage home, with William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, and they're trying to get back to their time zone, and they're stuck in our 1980s, America and San Francisco, and they come up to they're trying to save the whale, so they have to make this big, huge container in this Klingon spaceship that they captured. It was invisible, and some heroine, some girl bumps into it, and while it was invisible, and gets zapped aboard, and she's there, and whatever, William Shatner, Captain Kirk, and women, are like, the magnets that attract each other all the time. But they're sitting there. You have to save the whales, and this woman is a biologist who knows how to keep whales alive. So they build this tank. They needed aluminum, liquid aluminum, or no, some type of see-through aluminum to make this big vault for this whale. They're going to beam a whale up and save the planet, save America, save the world in the future by saving the whales. But anyway, they get out there, and so Scotty gets on there, and he has a computer, and it's just an old computer, floppy drive stuff back in technology. He goes, computer, give me and it says, oh, it's not an advanced, Scotty, as ours. Oh, how quaint. And he starts tapping, and he starts typing, and gets the formula to the guy, looks at it, and they supply all that he needs to make the stuff, and they make it for them in exchange that he gets the full right of the patent. So anyway, that's the kind of a thing that I see the AI is. Now you're talking to your computer string, and you got your phone. I haven't done this. Maybe I should. Maybe it'd spare me heartache when I'm driving. But when I take my phone, whoops, turn the screen off. When I take the phone, I look things up. I start talking to it. I don't want it talking back to me. I'm driving down the road a while back. I don't know how it did it. All of a sudden, I'm driving down the road, and it's Wi-Fi is hooked up to the car, and all of a sudden, hello, Brian. How can I help you? And I go, what the heck was that? It was my phone talking to me. I don't want to talk to you, phone. What is this? I don't care what your voice sounds like. Shut up. That gives me the creeps to talk to a phone that talks back, and I know it's not a real person. Where's the human interaction? And that's another way. My whole point of that is how deception will be coming up, because people are becoming so you'll find out more in the Satan's toolbox thing, but are becoming more disjointed from each other because you have your phone you can talk to, you're more on social media, and you have no interaction with other human beings on a very limited basis. And I'm finding that out to be very true, which causes people to run to and fro in kind of a frantic kind of way, because you are isolated. I learned this a long time ago when I went on my Outward Bound class, mountaineering survival school back in the late 70s, and a whitewater skills course as well from and up there at the boundary waters of Minnesota, and we bust way up a few 100 miles south of Hudson Bay, and canoed back to our base camp and the boundary waters up there. So I learned something. When I go out and I go hiking and stuff, how austere the climate is, how austere the land is, I know it's unfriendly. I know that. I know it's inhospitable. And you better know what you're doing to live in it. And also how inhospitable life is. Because right now we're living in an age where people are isolated. That's another thing AI does, is to isolate people in your own little world, and you have no interaction. That makes you susceptible to wanting validation, which is a human. God designed us to seek validation from each other, to feel like a family and connect. In other words, you will now connect to somebody called the Antichrist system to get your validation. And this is where we seem to be heading. And so this is the mission field that we are up against. And several people asked me a question: how do we reach people? Well, use social media. That's the best way to do it. But also, I want to do something on a larger scale, but I have no ability to do it other than to give it a try. And for those of my friends watching who who was part of this, if you are, you'll remember this because it was a cold day, and this is, I think everybody was out of, was I still in high school? No, I was out of high school, and nothing to do. I think we just got out of high school in the winter time, or first winter, no school or whatever, and we're all bored, and it was snowing in Virginia, and cold, and I've been outward bound and stuff. I knew stuff, and I saw everybody's just depressed, and nobody had anything to smoke or drink. No one had any stuff, and so we decided, I just said, okay, I tell you what we're going to do, guys. I can't take this anymore. We're going to go build a house. I go, what? You're going to build a house? Yeah, I'm going to take. So I went and got a bow saw, got some equipment up there, and went up to a place called Child's Tracks. It's no longer there. It's just a stretch of woods. All that's been plowed under and built upon by skyscrapers by now. But it's a tract of woods where we should take our guns out and go target shooting and stuff. And we had fun back then. And so we went back there along the trail past a place called the Plantation. And then we took off in the woods. I said, this is a good spot. Found some trees and made a lean-to, made a structure, and put a roof, start stacking things around it. I think we put something over to kind of keep the rain over us, some plastic over the sticks and stuff. And so was basically a shelter. And so inside you had a little fire pit there, and I had some of the walls are open, space about that much because I just, the smoke would get to you if I had it set up any other way. But that's as a lean-to. You'd normally in a survival situation make it a little bit more sturdier, or put tarps around it, whatever, to keep the wind out. But it's basically almost like a flat roofed teepee. But anyway, made a shelter so people go there, and God Lord, everyone got alive. And we all built this thing, dragged wood, people got into it, and we connected at that time. Many of us were suffering from depression and the doldrums, and people were the guys were kind of hopeless and all that. And so I always remember that. And even though I was before my after-death experience, and I was a heathen there, and agnostic, atheist, and all that stuff at that time, more atheist at that time than anything. Just to build a house, do something together, helped. So I want to put this slide back up. You are now entering the mission field. People's lives are falling apart, and it's time to you and I to start building God's house. And that's the mission. I got tools. I got this book. I got saws. I got hammers. I got tools. I got knowledge. Try to get people into some type of fellowship to connect with one another. When I was up in the Dakotas, up there in Hot Springs, there's a little church. They're getting started, and I go, boy. The host asked me, "Do you like the place?" Yeah, it's nice. It's really nice. It needs some work, but I tell you, it's nice because this is a place where God can move. It's like a word from the Lord. This is where God can move in a place like this with a small group of people who are fed up with being burned by churches, and they want to build a house. That's the mission field. And so they will do it. I met them, and I felt the power of God in that place. And it's just a small group of people just getting started. And that's kind of places I like to go. Yeah. Don't you like huge venues and all that? Yeah, those are fine. But I like meeting people. met an interesting chap and his family from outside of Edgemont, South Dakota. And I had, I was going to say it here, I just felt like the Lord, but when I was driving up there, it was like, I'm to go to Edgemont. I drive by Edgemont, and I go, I don't ever want to stop in Edgemont. There's not much there. And so it was like, no, you're going there. I don't know how I'm going to go there. I know I'll drive there, but as a venue to preach in, I don't know. But one of the individuals there lives up there near Edgemont. I don't know if that'll work out. We'll see. And if it does, it sounds like he has a house church. And it's be like up in Trail City, South Dakota. There's a place at a farm. They opened up their area where they keep their tractors and combines. We used to call it a barn, but now you put your combine and your all your seeder and everything in there, all this equipment. And then we had church in that for a while. And that was fun to preach inside of that on a cold winter night. And it's heated, but they want to keep their combines running in tip-top shape, so the floors are passive heating. And a lot of people showed up to that. And I like places. I like preaching on the street. I like preaching out in the open. I like preaching in barns. I like to build houses, God's house. I like to see people and things get going. That's because this is a mission field. And when people get to build together, something happens. And the Bible not only comes alive, but you live it. As you're working together, hearts are mended, wounds are taken care of. Also, you got the enemy's tools coming in too, who will try to sabotage and take over things. But you need to be a wise builder and get rid of those people right quick. And they want to take control of everything. You don't want somebody like that to run everything or get all the attention or to be the great teacher, because they're wounded. They're not ready even to teach. Even if God called them, they're not, because their egos are too shattered and they want the attention. And this is what the Bible calls phileo love. People want a community of believers that have a combat veteran type of love for one another. They don't want some type of egotistical love coming in and ruining it with somebody with a big ego, and then it will squash it, because they're not a wise master builder. Paul mentioned that he was a wise master builder, and he calls all of us to be wise master builders. You can do it. Some of you don't know why you're here on this planet and you're by yourself. I don't know what else to say. We live too far apart, but at least we were here on social media. But can you start building a house? Can you put a fellowship together? Can you just invite a couple of friends over and start talking shop about the Bible? And maybe get together and start doing some things together and build something. In the upcoming days, you'll need it. There's so many churches. All you do is go inside the church, and all you do is sit, and all you do is leave. And you're just a face in the crowd. How you doing, brother? I'm fine. How was work? Busy. How many children do you have? Enough to drive me crazy. So people don't know each other. They don't get together in churches. They don't have fellowships. They don't have a cookout. They don't go out and play horseshoes or cornhole or whatever game out there. They don't, they get a big potluck and everybody's, thing like that. You go to some communities, and I'll just, I noticed this about when I was in Lancaster. Some people call it Lancaster, Pennsylvania, but I think they pronounce it Lancaster. For some reason, it's easier for me to say Lancaster. But Lancaster County, and the oldest pretzel bakery is there in that. And my wife and I got some pretzels there. And I believe they are fresh. I mean, they was built in the 1700s, but it's still, the oven still works, and they keep it clean. And the pretzels are pretty good. But anyway, out there, went to the Amish country, and so I noticed when we were in the Amish country at I think it was a town called Bird in the Hand or something like that. That's the name of a town. And so there's a restaurant nearby it, or maybe the town passed there or whatever. I can't remember where it was. But everybody sat on a communal table and everybody eats together. This is how the Amish, they know each other, they fellowship. And this is the way churches used to be. That is dying out because people are running to and fro. I think it's great if you meet up people and you like football or baseball, and after your Sunday and you go chill out and you go watch a game together. Fine, I don't have a problem with that. At least you're building some friendship. I mean, that's a lot better than not doing anything. There are things to do things together. You just have to be creative. Some of you just need to do that and help build a house. Because we're living in times of AI and deception, lonely people, and emptiness, hollowness, shallowness has always been there. But one of the things that a totalitarian system wants more than anything is to isolate human beings so they latch on to mother, daddy, government, or a figure who promises them everything. Case in point, World War I happened, it ended, devastated Europe. And so, Mr. Socialist, he was a socialist. Old mustache man was a socialist. He was not a nationalist. He was a social nationalist, which is a totalitarian. He's not far right, it's far left. Old mustache man and his party's far left. And a few less than a microgram, a micrometer from a micro millimeter from it is communism. They're about the same thing. State controls everything. They need to isolate people. They want to isolate you from your family. They want to destroy the family. You'll go to the state. And then they can control you by giving you everything you need. And they don't give you anything at all. You're still isolated and you're just a tool in their toolbox to be used. I'll talk about that later. And so that's how the devil operates too. And we are, as Christians, to combat the devil's schemes, and that's one of the things we need to do. And it says here in Daniel chapter 12, verse 3, those who are wise will shine like brightness of the firmament and those who turn many to righteousness like the stars forever and ever, because we are on this mission field. You may be able to do it on social media. You may not be able to. You may be able to do it in your home or you can just go talk to people. Jason of Truth Seekers there, it was a channel called Truth Seekers. He hands out, he's a truck driver. He has several truck driver buddies. And he hands out, he gets Bibles, buys them out of his own pocket, or gets people to help donate to him. And he goes and gives Bibles and hands people Bible and tracts. And he's building God's house. Something simple like that. You get pocket tracts and stick them in. We used to stick them in phone booths. They don't have phone booths anymore. You want to get to heaven? Call this number. 1-800 Jesus. Okay. But so now you can put them in different locations. Go to a bookstore, put one of them inside of a book. Get some tracts. Now you did not hear me say this, but if someone's brave enough, you go to the occult section or the witchcraft section and take Jesus Saves and stick it inside of a bunch of those books. I don't know if the bookcase may blast in a blaze of fire and burn up. I don't know, but it could. But wouldn't it be interesting? So, how are you building God's house? And other things you can do is pray and or just be friendly to people who are around you. I don't know what else to say other than that. But we are in a time frame where things are going to get kind of when I look at the AI, the advances of AI, I'm looking at the digital currency, Bitcoin, whatever you want to call it. They have everything set up, and they are now getting the data centers up, and they're talking about the data centers. And I read it, I think last time I was here, and there's an article. It was all about they don't have enough energy to run the data centers because it would collapse the grid. And so, yeah, and if you collapse the grid, you don't have power. I drove up into South Dakota and Wyoming in the worst wind I've ever had. It's always windy there, but this was 80-mile-an-hour gust. This is hurricane strength wind. It hit the car, almost knocked me off the road. I go, wow. And no wonder the trucks were crawling along with their blinkers on. It was, they should not have been out there. And probably I shouldn't either. But I got up there, and that's the strongest wind I ever drove in Wyoming. I've driven in some really strong wind before, but nothing like that. And the side gust hit you as you turn a corner, boom. But, the windstorms can knock out power. So it got so bad there on my way back. I came back on Sunday, and I drove through there, and there had no cell service for my cell phone. For a long period of time, I always had cell service up there. I could listen to things on the radio, whatever. Had none. I found out that all got knocked out. The wind knocked out a power line, took out a whole grid. That's the windstorm. Just imagine what a data center will do. And so they're designing small nuclear reactors, so forth, or whatever alternative ways for these places to operate. Once they operation, they can connect everybody into a worldwide network and track and monitor everything you do. And they can see what you do, collect data, and they're collecting it to control you. In their mind, they want to create a utopia of communism, Marxism, socialism. Is a system where they say you can meet your full potential because you never have to work anymore, because you no longer are a wage slave. The government will give you a universal income because they control all the money. And you can do whatever it is you want to do. Sounds wonderful, right? No, not really. Because you're not going to be able to do too much, because they're going to determine how much money you can have. If your happy thoughts or nasty thoughts about them will determine who you hang out with. If you are a Christian or not a Christian, will all have detrimental or positive effects, especially if you're not a Christian, have positive effects for you. You can't buy, sell, or eat unless you have this mark, unless you comply by worshiping the beast and the system of total absolute control, and you have no individuality. Communism, socialism seeks to destroy the family. The whole point of it is destroy the existing order and replace it with let me try to put it all the totalitarian system, the fascist and the communists are the same, and socialism and all that's the same, and they promise you liberty. And if I heard this, what is it, James Lindsay? I think James Lindsay said this. You have to go back and look at when Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto. And I think 4 chapters in the book. Yeah. First two and the last chapter are just trash. And the third chapter has some legitimacy, has some truth in it about exploitation and stuff. But the whole point of Karl Marx was that he wanted a place where he can do whatever he wanted to and never have to work. And he wanted a clientele to support him. And Engels did. If they were successful, they would have been the rulers of the world, and they would never have to work. And anyone who was around them would never have to work. But the people below are still social earners, social producers. You'll be forced to do things. And so they want to create this system where you don't have to work anymore, but you'll be cold, just like that CULLED, cold, just like you do when you have a virus hits a chicken factory, a bird flu hits the chicken factory. You have to get coal, all the birds. You'll be in a little area and they can just get rid of you because there's too many humans going on. And it's not a perfect world. It's only a perfect world where they have the freedom, you don't. It's all about deception. And I could explain that much later in another video, but this is where we're headed. And that's why we're in this mission field, and we are to start building God's house on earth so we can start pushing back on this stuff, as well as many other things. Well, folks, I think that should do it for tonight. I'm just rambling and talking and so forth, etc. But I'll be doing more videos soon, and so we are going to go ahead. I'll go to the live chat. Don't know how many people are on here, but anyway, we'll look on here. There's Joe. Okay. Okay. Here's a question. Brian, what's your take on globalists flooding Christian nations with massive Muslim immigration? Who and what is doing this? London is completely destroyed. It is by design. These are tools in Satan's toolbox that these people think that they can use. They're Fabian socialists, let's call Starmer and the Labor Party, the rest of them, Fabian socialist, communist. They want to create a perfect world. The people who believe in individual liberty and freedom are the enemy, because you have to be a collectivist. So they need a catalyst, another force, to be the strong arm to get rid of and subjugate the people. They think they can control the Islamic groups coming in there. They won't. They're stupid. And because that plays in both hands, both totalitarian systems' hands. And it is designed to disrupt, destroy, and burn down the existing system, because to them, individual liberty, human rights, and freedom, and having your charters or your constitution is somehow evil. It has to be destroyed to have this perfect paradise. So they need a catalyst. That's why they're doing it. They want to destroy Christianity, and they want an arm who's not afraid to do the job. Get rid of the existing police force and hire these people who will gladly go into your house and violate your rights with impunity. So it's by design. It's part of Satan's toolbox. I'll be talking about that thing. And Joe is right. Canada's next. America is on the agenda as well. So, okay. Look on here. Prepper says, I did Swiftwater Rescue 2, certified for search and rescue. Yeah, we did whitewater skills, Swiftwater rescue. We're trained in all that. To pass the course, you had to do all that. He did open canoes, kayaks, and stuff like that. And it's a very unique experience. And to be able to read the rapids and go down the rapids and navigate rapids and know what rapids to avoid, what you can take and what you can't. Kayaks can take a higher grade. Uh, Open canoe can only go to a class 3 rapid, which is pretty rugged. Though I went through not by choice, but out of necessity. We hit a flood, and it flooded the river, and we went down, and one canoe wrapped around a rock, and we were stuck in this little gully, no way out, and we had to get that one uh, canoe off the rock. They pried it off with a winch, and then I got down. So I canoed, open canoe, in a class 4 rapid. And everybody dunked except me, 2 other people. It was me and my crewmate and another boat. We were filled with water, but we didn't tip over. We didn't fall out, and we were already soaking wet. But we pulled along the bank and helped get other canoes out of the other water and got everybody out and everything. Got through that. That was a mess. I never want to do a class 4 rapid in a open canoe. Kayak is different, but it's also dangerous as well. You're going with a force down a river. You don't know what's below the river, and you better know how to contort yourself, duck, flip your right yourself up once you flip, because you don't want to fall out. And we're trained in all that stuff. Prepper, we had to go into, we call it a souse hole, and you just go and we dunk us down there, and they controlled us, and you go to where the bottom is and feel your way around and come up, because you're not so much air blowing in that one pocket, you can't lift yourself up. You have to crawl along the bottom to get out. There's a more shallow area in case you couldn't do it, but they taught us well. Anyway, it's always good to talk to somebody who's done the same things that you did. Philip K. Dick quote about the phone spying is, "There will come a time when it isn't they're spying on me through my phone anymore. Eventually it's my phone spying on me." It probably is spying on me right now. So the age to come is not for those who are paranoia. Well, hope you guys are enjoying the little talk tonight. Just reading some of the things. So Keith Wilson, we'll keep praying for Keith's health. Lord, we lift up Keith to you, that he be made whole and sound. You know what's wrong with him, and just keep Keith in your prayers. And we just ask for Keith, for him to be healed in Jesus' name. Keep him in prayer. Prepper says, while getting our training, we made 4 real rescues. We had to flip the raft and stay upright. I was the only one that didn't right. Policemen and firefighters floating downstream. When I made it through that class 4 rapid in one piece, I know exactly how you felt. Then I had to fish everybody else out of the rivers. Me and the other person was a lady that was with me. And this lady was prone to tipping canoes, and she didn't that time. I was in the front. I had the power. I was the power. I just told her to steer. I actually had to steer from the front with J strokes and power strokes and J strokes, and try to make it, which we did, keep us straight and not hit the big rocks. Okay. Yeah, you should have tried it out, but it's they'll have to train you. You have to go some training. Jason, I know you're down in Durango there on the Animas River. Okay. I had people send me AI thumbnails for my videos. I look 15 years younger and about 40 pounds lighter. AI can do wonders for weight loss, you know. And B, sorry, you can, yeah, I just came on. I just want to let people know I'm going to be doing videos now. Oh, yeah, Joe puts this out here. In Europe and Canada, they're pushing digital ID right now at breakneck speed. Is this the Antichrist system? It's part of it. It's the stepping stone to it. It always comes in stages. And so you need to look at a mark. You can't buy, sell, or eat, and you have to worship this beast system, this beast and his system. In other words, his system is total control. It's just like I said, you have the few at the top. Let me look at again. I'll go here so you can see what I'm talking about. You have those at the top will control everybody underneath as slaves to build a new order of the age. That is the plan. Well known, documented, even on the back of our dollar bills. And so they don't have the data or the computing power to do this. And they also need to alter what it means to be human in order for control, so you don't rebel against the system. So they want to dumb you down with bad diets or food. They can dumb you down, planting something in you too to change your genetic makeup so you're more docile and controllable too. They're working on all that. Go read the DNA research and gene splicing. It'll blow your mind what they can do today. And what they did in 2015, putting jellyfish DNA into a rabbit to make a glow in the dark rabbit, is phenomenal. But then you look at how the genetically modified food, you put fish DNA to grow tomatoes in climates that are colder, so they will grow there, or they get real big. You know, the old beef eaters are just, kind of good size, but now they're like the size like that. It's like, I don't know what they put in their bowl, maybe DNA and get it that big. A lot of bull in that tomato. But so they can do things and they're planning on it. So the digital ID is the key. They need the data centers to do that right now. Something else could come up in the future that just might be able to take care of the power source. We don't know. They're talking about NIVDA, NVIDIA chips or something, and cloud storage in order to do it or something. I don't know. I can't make sense out of it when I heard about it. Okay. Yep. Whoops. Yeah. The latest chip is embedded in the skin, absorbed in the skin like a tattoo. They developed that several years ago, I think 2018 or so. I did a video, and the Economic Forum, they then had that, the World Economic Forum had that, and wasn't perfected. Now it's getting more perfected. Microsoft is talking about putting that out, and it can go into, so you can plug you right into the internet. So you just turn your thing on. I was at the Heavens Encounter conference, and I don't know if this was a person attending or somebody else there, but he was in the elevator, and he goes, and he had these dark glasses on, and so that's fine, okay. And he's talking, and he's talking to me. He says, his wife says, his glasses are spying on you. I go, oh, well, fine. I mean, pretty boring. I'm thinking, what? They were glasses that were Apple glasses that had a computer screen in them. I couldn't see it, and and whatever you looked at had a camera, so he could record you and record you without you knowing it. And they start joking around. He says, "I love these glasses," and He says, when you turning on the computer screen, what do? You're going to walk off a cliff or something? Oh, no. I just have that part off. I'm sitting down, chilling out. I'll just turn it on and I can read the internet, watch a movie just sitting here. It's like, okay, I don't know how you can see out of those things because the lenses were almost black. You couldn't even see his eyes. But, yeah. So they have this stuff there. They can do a lot of stuff embedded in the skin. They have the technology. Now, it's all being perfected, all going to the same thing. And when I do the Devil's Tool video, I'll talk about it, probably be several parts to it. But you'll find out what they're planning and how it works when they get there. Yeah, they already dumb us down, fatten us up with food and all the fillers that put foods in the U.S. and other countries don't even allow that garbage that's in our foods. Absolutely. Yes. When I go to the reservation, when I see the government diet, they have the yellow gold cheese. I have some of that. It doesn't get old. I've had a block of cheese. I just finally got rid of it. Some friends from South Dakota took it from me. It was the last part of it. It's about maybe 5 years old. It doesn't. there's no end date to it. It's just a bunch of chemicals mixed with a little bit of goo that called cheese. It's a Velveeta type cheese. It's a government cheese. And so they have a diet of that, and it's high fat, high sugar, and the diabetes is very bad up on the reservations. It's sad. And yep, you're right. Oh yeah, there's a Chinese video of fake food. Yeah, I saw that a while back on fake food. All chemicals. There is someone went to a restaurant in Chicago, and the chef made this stuff. It was just chemicals, and it looked like food. And I think it was the digital printout fake meat, where they grow a piece of meat in the test tube, and it grows. They had that, and they had a gourmet restaurant where you get a little bit here, a little bit there, you get your dessert and all that. And yeah, someone's telling me about that. Well, that's pretty weird. I like my potatoes real. Yeah. Yeah, the 3D printed meat. They sell it. They sell it at the grocery store. It's there. I saw it. I seen the 3D printed meat, plant-based meat. They call it, or it's called something else. It's not. It's fake meat. It's actually meat that grown in a test tube. Vegetables are too good to go full. But yeah, I can't do carnivore. I gotta have veggies. Yeah, veggies. I love vegetables. I was a weird kid because I liked spinach when I was growing up. No one else could like spinach, but I ate spinach all the time. That's because I used to watch Popeye cartoons, and Popeye ate his spinach. If he could, I could too. And I can beat up the bullies. Okay. All right, we're done. I think we're done tonight. I'm just reading through that, but anyway, I'm back. Hope you enjoyed the video. So we're just talking tonight. So anyway, folks, if you'd like to contact me, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. like to contact me, all my contact information's right there at the end, and you can have help me out if you like through PayPal. Contact me by email, whatever. My 2 books, Land Unknown, Hell's Dominion, Heaven Beckons. My website is After Hours Ministries. And again, I go by the Christian Marauder, and I am a combination Christian. I deal with Christian fringe topics and apologetics. So I cover a lot of strange stuff, and that people are interested in hearing that they don't talk about in church. So that's my channel. If you'd like to support what I do, go ahead, take a screenshot, and fill in the blanks. With that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. You guys have a great day and be blessed.